Hi, this is John. Many of you know me as Piano Geek on Twitter, and this is the second installment of piano improvisation techniques. Some of you have been waiting for this. The first installment we talked about the diminished chord. That's a diminished seventh chord, fully diminished seventh. And we ended our discussion with the fact that there are three different kinds of fully diminished seventh chords, and only three different kinds without making inversions. You have, if you start on middle C, you get C, E flat, G flat, and A. If you start on C sharp, you get C sharp, E, G, and B flat. And then if you start on D, you get D, F, A flat, and B natural. And then when we ended our discussion, we realized the fact that when you start on E flat again, you're getting the same notes that you do when you start on C, only it's in what we call an inversion, which can continue on forever and ever and ever and ever. So you can transpose the fully diminished seventh chord 3 times. Another thing you can do with the fully diminished seventh chord, which is really neat, is you can form a scale. It's called the octatonic scale. Octatonic means 8 notes. There's 8 notes in the octatonic scale versus the traditional diatonic scale, which has 7 notes. The diatonic scale sounds like this. That's major or minor. That's melodic minor. There's 7 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you repeat the same note on the top. But in the octatonic scale, there's 8. And the way you form an octatonic scale is you alternate half steps with whole steps. So you either go half step, whole step, half step, whole step, or you go whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Let's start with the first way. C to C sharp, that's a half step. So to continue on with the octatonic scale, from your C sharp half step, you then alternate to a whole. So C sharp to D sharp is a whole. Then you go back to half again, D sharp to E. Okay, we did a half step. We're going to go to a whole step again. So we'll go to E sharp, or E to F sharp rather. Then we're going to do F sharp to G. That's a half step. Whole step, G to A. Half step, A to B flat. And then whole step, back to C. So if you put it all together, the octatonic scale, starting on half step, starts like this. If you do it the other way, and you decide you want to start on the whole step, you start on C and go to D. That's a whole step. You go from D to E flat. Go from E flat to F. So far it sounds like just a regular minor scale, but then you go up to the half step from F to F sharp, whole step F sharp to G sharp, half step G sharp to A, whole step A to B, and finally half step B to C. So that kind of octatonic scale will sound like this. And remember, the other one, when you start on the half step, sounds like this. Okay, now what's the significance of all of this? And how does it relate to the diminished chords? You know, what we discussed before. Well, the octatonic scale is simply a diminished chord with filler notes in between. So when you have the diminished chord, say you play a diminished chord in ascending pattern that is called an arpeggio. That's a fully diminished Progression. Well, you're playing the same notes as you would in the octatonic scale, only you're playing less of them. With the octatonic scale, you're going to be playing all of them, and it would sound like this. And then remember, the octatonic scale, the reason it's called that is that it has 8 tones to it instead of the diatonic 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're back at C. Versus the traditional, we get. This is a very common pattern in Eastern music, Eastern European music, such as Hungarian music, Greek music, Turkish music. The famous composer Bela Bartok really appreciated and enjoyed the octatonic patterns. So I think they're great to improvise with and mess around with. You can start on any note you want. You could start on F sharp, for instance. All you need to keep in mind is your alternating whole step and half step pattern. So. And so for now, I'll let you guys play around with that, and then we'll come back next time and discuss more ways to use it.